Welcome to the Genius Solutions Keyboard Entry in eTHOMAS video. This video will detail activating the keyboard entry, posting charges, and posting payments with the keyboard entry. There's a new system setting called Enable Extra Keys. When activated, the posting charges, patient payment, and insurance payments may be used with a keyboard entry. This should help make the posting process quick and efficient. And you should note that all other shortcut functions will work as they always have throughout these areas, with or without the setting activated. To activate the system setting, click on the Utility tab from the top menu bar. From the left-hand side, click Settings, and then System Settings. Then click on the plus sign to add a new setting, and in the code field, double-click in the code, and in the search, type in *enable, E-N-A-B-L-E, and the settings name is Enable Extra Keys. Double-click, input a value of 1, and click Save. Now that the setting is activated, we're going to go into Patient, and then select a patient to post a charge on. From the patient, I can now post charges. And you can post charges like you normally do, or access post charges like you normally do. So I can click on Post Charges from the right-hand side. I can click on Posting and Charges. I can also use the hotkeys. Any area within Thomas that has an underlined letter, you see Post Charges has underlined P. So I can use the Alt key in conjunction with that underlined letter, so in this case Alt P, and it will bring me to the Post Charges screen. Now we'll go through this a few times so you can really get the hang of it and see the different ways that you can use this Enable Extra Keys. The really neat thing about this setting is that everything that you've always done within post charges, for example, using any of these hotkeys that are listed down here, the page down, down arrow, F1, F5, and so on, those can still be used. You can still use your mouse in conjunction with what I'm going to show you. All you have are options within the posting charges. It makes it really flexible for the user. So you'll notice when you post charges that your cursor defaults to the diagnosis area. Now, if these are the diagnosis codes that I want to use, I can tab through to get to this side of the post charges. If everything on this top part of the post charges looks just fine, all I need to do is use my page down key. When you use your page down located on your keyboard, it brings you, as you can see, to the procedure area. I can then type in my procedure or use the F1 key. This is designed to increase the speed through posting charges. So I can change anything I need to change here, but if everything looks just fine, and use my arrow down key if I need to add an additional procedure code, enter through, then this is where the real magic happens. If I'm going to use, if I'm done with this claim is good, I want to be finished with it, hit my page down key once, twice, and the focus now is on the done. Click enter, brings me to the post patient payment screen. If I don't have a payment to post, hit escape, and I'm done. So let's do this again. We'll do it on a different patient. Come in here, select a patient. Going to post charges, I'm going to use Alt P. Again, defaults me to the diagnosis area. That's the diagnosis I want to use. The location, doctor, and header all look good. Page down, get to my procedure area, enter my procedure, page down, done, enter. Done. We're going to post charges on another patient, just so you can really get the hang of it here and see it in action. So let's pull up another patient here. And I'm going to use my Alt-P to go into post charges. See, my cursor defaults to my diagnosis. And again, if all of this looks good, this top portion of the post charges, use my page down key to get into my procedure. If I do need to change the data service for whatever reason, I can use my shift and tab key. See how my cursor is moving over to the data service from, so I would, from the procedure, hit shift tab twice to get to the data service from, change my date, use enter, enter my procedure. If all of this looks good, page down once, page down twice, brings you to the done, enter, and then I'm finished. Now I want to show you how to add a header when you're posting charges. So I'm going to do Alt-P again when I'm on the patient. Let's say yes to that. So my cursor brings me highlighted onto the diagnosis. I'm going to tap down. Maybe I want to add another diagnosis. Use the F1 key, or I can always type it in there. I'm going to use my arrow key to go through and select the correct diagnosis that I need. And if I needed to add other diagnoses, tab through F1 or type the diagnosis in. I'm going to use my tab key to tab through this area. Go over to the claim type. If I need to add a claim type, I may use my arrow key to go through and select the right claim type. If I need to go back to an area, of course I can always use my mouse, but if I'm looking for speed, looking to just use my keyboard, use the shift and tab key in conjunction with one another. So I'm going to press my shift and then hit tab, and you see how my cursor is moving backwards? I can do that all the way to the beginning. So that's shift and tab, and then if I want to go forward, use my tab. That's going to bring me through. I got claim type, location, and I can use my arrow keys through my location, through my doctor to select a different doctor. And now we'll get to header. If I want to add an additional header to this post charges, I want to attach a different header other than OV or whatever's in there, use my F1 key. And then I'm going to add a header. Of course I can use my mouse if I want to click to add it, but if I just want to use my keyboard, I'm going to do Control A. That's the Control key and A to add. Now maybe I want to add something on this header. I already have a facility on there. Maybe I want to add a referring physician. I can use my F1 key to add that physician. I can always just double click in that red outlined area, but the idea here is when you have the system setting activated is to use just the keyboard. Now when I'm finished adding whatever I need to for this claim header, I'm going to page down. The save button is highlighted, then click enter, and then select the header from the list. It should be highlighted because it's the first one on the list, but as you can see I'm using, you can see the colors are moving there. I'm using the up and down arrow key. So I want to select the header I just added. So I'm going to highlight it, click enter. It then pops on to the posting charges screen. Page down. Now I'm in the data service from. If I need to change that, I can do that. Tab over to the procedure. That's the way, if everything is there, everything there is set. Page down once, page down twice, highlighted on done, click enter. and then I'm done. There is a system setting that your office may be using called Post Add Header. If this is activated, when you go to Post Charges, it will bring you up to the headers list. So I do want to show you how that will look when you're using the Enable Extra Keys. So I'm just going to activate that setting. It's Post Add Header. Activate that with a value of 1. Then go into my patient and Post Charges, Alt-P. Now you see it brings me up to my headers list. Now, because I have 2 headers added for this patient already, it will, the cursor or the focus defaults to the first header. So see how those colors are moving? I'm using my up and down arrow key to go through the headers. If I want to add a new header, again, Control A to add a new header. Escape to get back to the previous screen. So I'm going to select the OV header. And again, if all of this looks good, this top portion, can just page down, brings me to the procedure, enter through. If all of that looks good, page down once, page down twice, that brings me to done. Now I'd like to show you what it looks like when you post a charge with Post Add Header activated and the patient doesn't have any headers added. So it acts a little different here than you're accustomed to. So if you go to, I'm going to go to search and search for this patient. I'm going to go Post Charges. And you can see here this patient doesn't have any headers added. The plus sign is highlighted. It's outlined in black. All I need to do is hit enter and it will open up a new claim header for me. This is similar to the Zoom for those former eTHOMAS users. So I can go in and I can add the header, add whatever information I need by tabbing through. So if I would like to add a facility, I can do that by either typing it in or using the F1 key on my keyboard. You can also just use the mouse, but if you just want to use the keyboard, you can do that. Page down will highlight the Save button, then click Enter. Brings me to my header list. It's highlighted now on that header. Click Enter. Brings me to Post Charges. And again, if everything on the top part of this Post Charges looks fine, I'm going to page down to get to my procedure area, type in my procedure or use the F1 and search for it. If everything on the line of service is fine, page down again, so I'm going to page down a total of 2 times to get to done, hit done, and then I'm finished. You may have noticed that after I posted charges, the patient payment screen did not come up. There are a couple system settings that you may have or that I actually have activated on my system. You can have a system setting that will skip the patient payment screen entirely, or you can have a setting that will skip the patient payment screen when you're posting charges if there is not a charge applied to the patient for that posting. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that neither one of those are activated so that we can have the patient payment screen so you can see what that looks like. So we're going to click on Utility, Settings, and System Settings. And the first setting that I'm going to check to make sure is not set is Post Skip Pat Pay. And it is not activated. This will skip the patient payment process after posting charges entirely. Then the other one is post close if no pat charge. And this one is activated. So this will, during the posting charges process, if there's no patient charge, the patient payment screen will be skipped. So I'm going to deactivate that setting, save it, go back to the patient, and we'll go post charges on this patient. We'll select the same header, so click enter. All of this information is fine. I'm going to page down, select my procedure, enter, page down once, twice to get to the done, enter. Now I'm brought to the post-patient payment screen. The payment method is going to default to cash. I can select a different payment method if desired. We'll leave it at cash. If I want to page down, that will bring me to my discount field if that's activated. Tab over to my amount paid, put my amount paid in. Then if I page down again, it defaults down to no receipt. If I want to print a receipt, just arrow to the receipt. I'm going to leave it at no receipt, enter. Then it defaults to post. I'm going to click post, and I'm done. Keep in mind that you may also use the hotkeys for patient pay, which is the Alt key and whatever the underlined letter is, in this case Alt T, and really any of these areas that have an underlined letter, you can use Alt in conjunction with that letter. So now we're going to go through insurance payment posting with enable extra keys. So let's go to the patient. Okay, I'm going to use my hotkey of Alt-I to go to the InspPay. You'll be brought to the Build Claim list. You would use your up and down arrows to select the correct claim or the claim that you want to post to. And then you would use the Alt-P if you're posting for primary, Alt-S posting for secondary, or Alt-T posting for tertiary. In this case, it's the primary, so I'm going to do Alt-P. Brings me to the post-insurance payment screen. And I'll enter in my check number, tab over, if I use my page down key, it brings me right to the approved. I'll put in whatever approved amount it has on my EOB. Tab over. If I do page down, that's kind of like my quick done. You see it brings me right to my done area. Click enter. It's going to ask me claim balance set to 0. Do you want to set it complete? Yes. Do enter. If I had more claims to post, it would bring me back to the build claim list. I'm going to say OK. In addition, we've also modified the insurance payments from the billing tab. So if I click on billing and I go down to post ins payment, you can see that the default is at the claim number. So if I'm accustomed to posting charges from the post ins payment screen, when I click on that, my claim number will be defaulted, and I can enter in my claim number, and then it will bring me to the post insurance payment screen just like I saw before. If you've never used this post-ins payment area of Thomas before, you might want to give it a try. You can post insurance payments based upon the claim number. You can also search for the patient within this area. Most people are going to use it with the claim number because on your EOB, when you're looking at your EOB, there's the patient's claim number is always listed on there if it was sent, if the claim was sent out of Thomas. You'll have the patient account number, and you'll have the claim number. So in this case, I'm going to enter in my claim number. This is a primary payment. Click enter. Brings me right into the post-insurance payment screen. Enter in my check number. If everything else looks good, everything's set, use my page down to get to my approved amount. Then my amount paid. Everything else looks good. Page down again. Brings me to my done. Click enter. It's highlighted on yes. Click enter. And I'm brought back to where I started. And that's going to wrap it up for keyboard entry in eTHOMAS video. And from all of us at Genius Solutions, we hope you enjoy this new feature in version 9.5. Thank you.